Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 2029. The topic is mindset, and the title is When Life Gets Hard, Make It Harder. How in the world does that make sense? So, I was watching a video, it was a gym tour, and this famous person, I don't even know why they're famous, who knows anymore? But they had a YouTube video and they were showing their gym, home gym, and they have a cold plunge. And they were saying the benefits of the cold plunge were joint recovery, boosts your metabolism, mood elevation. And then they said something that I loved and prompted the idea for this podcast. They said, I don't know if any of that is actually true, but I do know doing hard shit helps. If I get up in the morning and the first thing I do sucks, the rest of the day doesn't seem so bad. There was another video I'd seen, Tom Stoltman. He recently just won World's Strongest Man. He's a very large fellow. So he and his brother actually compete in World's Strongest Man together. And he discussed that he recently started running. He weighs 185 kilograms. So for pounds, you want to double that, then add 10%. So that's a lot. That's like 400 pounds. And so he recently began running. And he said a similar statement to the cold plunge. He said, I like running outside. I don't like running, but I like being outside. If I can get up and do a run at 7 a.m., I've done the hardest thing for the day. I now know the rest of the day isn't as bad. Meredith and I recently did a podcast. It was actually yesterday's podcast, well, the day previous podcast, so podcast 2028. We talked about that she is going to start doing a contest prep for a figure competition. Now, she's competed back in 2017-18, I believe. She did 2 shows, placed first in one of them. She did an amazing job. But since then, she's gone through a lot. We've shared some of the challenges in past podcasts, but she's been through a lot. She's turning 40 this year in December, and we're looking for something that would help her celebrate turning 40 in a positive way. And something that would allow her to feel like herself again. And that was something she said in the podcast, is she feels like she's lost a sense of herself through the struggles in the previous years, and she wants to just reclaim that. She's currently overwhelmed. She feels like she's lost herself to obligations in the busyness of life. So what did she decide to do? A figure competition. For those who don't know, it's one of the hardest challenges you will ever do in your life. It requires 24/7 accountability. Every single thing you do, every hour of every day matters. Because every single thing you eat every day matters, and you have to time it out along with all of your other activities of the day to make sure the meals, they don't have to happen at like the exact same minute. Yeah, so if you eat at 9 a.m. breakfast, you don't have to eat at 9 a.m. literally every single day. But you do have to get the breakfast in. You can't just miss days and miss meals. You have to hit the targets consistently. And when life is chaotic, that can be very challenging. So it was interesting for Meredith that she's finding life to be difficult now. Life is hard. So what did she decide to do? She decided to make it harder. The guy who does the cold plunges, to make his life better, he does a hard thing. The world's strongest man decided to run at 185 kilograms. To make his life better, he did a hard thing. For Meredith, and maybe for you, to reclaim your life for you, what do you need to do? You need to do a hard thing. When life seems hard, why in the world would someone add more hard to their life? Because it forces positive change. And it forces it in three specific ways: prioritization, motivation, and point of reference. And that's what I want to talk about in today's podcast. As for prioritization, when you decide on a new goal, when you decide to add something to your life, you, unless you're, I don't know who in the world, if they're trying to add something to their life, that right now they say, yep, I have the space for that. That's not common. What more so is common, when we want to add something to our life, we have to adjust everything else. We have to shorten or subtract other things. So when you add a new goal, a new challenge to your life, it forces you to redefine your priorities. In a sense, it forces a restart. You can press pause on the chaos that you're experiencing now. Look through everything you're doing and say, listen, if I'm going to add this new goal in, and I really want the outcome of this new goal, what isn't as important as this new goal? And of what I still have to do, can I streamline it? Can I do it in a more efficient manner? When we make life harder for ourselves by adding a hard thing to an already hard life, it can actually be a benefit because it forces reprioritization. It can help improve mental clarity of what's most important in your life. And it gives you an excuse. It gives you a reason to reset your priorities accordingly. Doing something hard when your life is already hard can be helpful. Another way it helps is motivation. You have a deadline. You have an adherence goal. You have something that if you don't do it, you're now going to feel disappointed. Now you can make that public. For Meredith, we announced that she was going to do the figure competition. I posted some things on Instagram. She did as well. We made a podcast about it. We're going to share the journey. We thought that that would actually be fun because she could do it in quote-unquote silence. But there's a lot of people that would, I think, enjoy seeing the process. We actually ourselves will watch people on YouTube do contest preps. She used to watch women do that whenever she was getting ready for her show. She wanted to see other people, how they dealt with the misery and the challenges. So we thought it would be fun to share for others. And it's definitely going to make it more motivational for her knowing it's public. Meredith does not need motivation. She is a ridiculously amazing human being. I am very blessed to see her and be with her every single day. She will crush anything in her way, whether it's public or not. It's amazing. It's extremely motivating for me, and it helps elevate my level of adherence and motivation and discipline to watch and see what she does every day. It's amazing. So she didn't need it to be public. But I thought it was awesome that she decided to do that because it does pose a little bit of a risk for her, meaning now everybody's going to know. So if it doesn't work out, everybody's going to know. But she decided to do it because she knew it could be helpful for other people. And that's awesome. That shows her character. But you can also do it privately. Think about Tom Stoltman doing that morning cardio. He said it's a goal of his, but no one's going to be there to film him every single day at 7 a.m. if he does the cardio or not. And there's not really going to be an outcome of the cardio that would be tangible, such as with Meredith, she's either going to get on a stage or not, and that's a pretty public event. For Tom, getting better at cardio, that doesn't really show. He's not running for a goal. He's not going to run in a competition or a contest or race. It's just he wanted to do it to get himself better, aerobically fit. But no one's going to really know if he does it or doesn't do it. So if making a goal public scares you, don't do that. Make it private. But if making a goal public scares you, but in a good way, then it might help you be more accountable. Then yeah, heck yeah, do that. There's somebody who used to attend the gym. I'll skip his last name, but his first name's Shane. And he recently started sharing his journey of reclaiming health on Facebook. So he'll do a workout and then he'll post his after workout thoughts. He might talk about what he did in the workout. And seeing him post that, and whether people are following or not, well, Shane, I am. You probably didn't know that, but I am following it because it's cool to me to see someone work hard to be their better self and be vulnerable enough to share that with the world. In a way, does it help them because it motivates them? Absolutely. But in a way, does it pose a personal risk? Meaning that your failure would be public. Absolutely. So it's awesome when people do that. There's a couple people on Facebook that I actually watch doing that. And it's cool to see them sharing their daily workouts and their journey of like getting fit. But that's cool stuff. What I like about doing something hard when life is already hard is it helps give you a why to the things you do. It gives you that motivation, that reason to follow through with things that we know we should be doing, but we don't typically do or we haven't been doing, and we're just looking for that extra accountability, that extra push, that extra motivation. And the third benefit of adding something hard to an already hard life is the change in your point of reference. As the guy with the cold plunge said, if I get up in the morning and the first thing I do sucks, the rest of the day doesn't seem so bad. Right? So it helped kind of shape and change his perception of what sucks or what's miserable. A maybe more like eloquent way or a relatable way is anytime we've ever been sick. So anytime you've gotten a fever, you've gotten congestion, you've got a cough, you just haven't felt good. It reframes how good normal feels. Right? Anytime you're sick, you just can't wait to get back to normal. But when you're normal, all you're ever thinking about is getting better. Right? You're like, our normal default is when things are normal to view that as negative. And we always want something more. We want something more. We want something more. Then as soon as we get sick, it reframes our viewpoint of normal. And now all of a sudden, normal seems pretty damn good, right? That's the idea of adding something hard to an already hard life is your regular life doesn't seem so damn hard anymore. If there's something you do that's worse than regular life, now regular life seems pretty damn good. So it resets our internal perception of what we're grateful for and what we're capable of. This has been a huge part of my journey over the years of trying to become more physically fit. When I was 15, I was very skinny fat. I was 5'8", 165 pounds, but you could grab fat rolls around my waist. I hated the way I looked. I hated that I was mentally weak enough to allow myself to have looked that way. So I started to make a change. And when you start to make a change, you try something, you succeed a little bit, but you fail some. You get frustrated. You take some time to process the frustration. You then say, okay, well, I'm still hungry for change. I still want change. I'm not happy here. You reformulate maybe a new approach. You try that. Some of it goes well, some of it doesn't. You make some progress, maybe not all the progress you wanted, likely not all the progress you wanted, but you made some progress. So you get frustrated again that it didn't go any better. You take time to process that. You continue that cycle. You make some progress, but not all the progress. You get frustrated, you try again. That's the cycle. If you continue that cycle, what you'll quickly see over the span of months, years, and especially decades is what you're doing now is so far above and beyond what you ever would have thought was possible before. I think about it as simple as when I opened Brutal Iron Gym. I opened Brutal Iron Gym back in 2011, and in 2011 I thought I was absolutely destroyed, and I was. I was running around crazy, working all damn day, sleeping at the gym many days in a row. I was destroyed. But now I look at what I manage and I'm like, oh wow, I'm actually managing more, but with a much better work-life balance. So at the time, I was doing the maximum capacity of what I possibly could do. And now, over 10 years later, I look back at that and say, I'm doing that by lunch. And that's what you want, is you want that continued growth, that continued evolution. When life gets hard, how can you respond? Make it harder. Pick a new goal, something that directly or indirectly addresses the known issue. It'll force reprioritization, it'll provide renewed motivation, and it'll provide a renewed point of reference. What seemed hard before will now seem easier, and thus your perception of happiness actually improves. Even if what's around you doesn't change, you can change what's within you. And that can make a world of difference. If you'd like any help, go to our website, www.brutalirongym.com. We have free training information. We have free nutrition information. We also have our services, so if you want guided help. But there is information on the website totally for free. How to create your own nutrition program. We have free training examples, like 4-week programs that you could definitely run for longer than 4 weeks if you actually wanted to. But there's tons of free information to get started. Then the services if you want guided help. But if you're looking for a way to make your life harder, which I hope now you understand what I mean when I say that. If you're looking for a way to make your life harder so it actually becomes easier, you can find that on our website, www.brutalirongym.com. Awesome. On the bottom of the website as well, on the homepage, you can send a message. There's a contact form. Send a message if you have any questions or you just want to shout out and just tell me what you're going through. If you want somebody to be a listening ear via reading an email, I'm here and I'm happy to do that for you. Awesome. Well, if you like the podcast, please share the podcast. The more people we share it with, the more people we can help. Also, if you like the podcast, you can consider donating to support the podcast, which you can do on the website. And if you like the information we share in the podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels. You can find us and follow us on Instagram and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.